The Lions, once again, are the NFC North champions. What an amazing game Sunday night against the Vikings. The Lions win 31-9, win the NFC North for the second time, back-to-back years, and we get the number one seed. So for the NFL playoffs on the NFC side, it runs through Detroit, baby. So much needed time off for the Detroit Lions. Obviously, many guys on IR, most of them on defense. We had Alex Anzalone back in the lineup, and Khalif Raymond came back doing punt returns. So that was nice to see both of those guys back in the lineup. But then this game also was the first time ever we had 14 both teams who won 14 games going at it. So that was awesome to see that, and it's in two division rivals, to say the least. So that was awesome to witness that. So yeah, combined 28 wins between these two teams. First time ever we've seen it in NFL in the NFL regular season. What a way to end Week 18, and then obviously we get the number one seed. And this was a huge game for the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings. Like, not only do you win the NFC North, but you get the number one seed, and then home field advantage for the entire playoffs. So. And then obviously whoever lost, obviously the Vikings, they're the fifth seed, but with 14 wins. I mean, that's pretty crappy if you ask me. So they have to win all their games on the road. They don't even host a home game, a playoff game. So that's really crappy for the Vikings. 31-9, man. I mean, Sam Darnold did not look like Sam Darnold. Am I wrong on that? I mean, he missed Justin Jefferson 2 times in the end zone. Like, how do you miss your best player on that field twice? I mean, those are touchdowns in any other game. It just seemed like Sam Darnold was flustered. The Detroit Lions gave him a lot of pressure. Aaron Glenn, yeah, give up to him, man. He had a great game plan for that game. I saw a lot more pressure from this defense, a lot more guys going after Sam Darnold, making him throw the ball quicker, making him make those decisions rather quickly rather than have him have time in the pocket. So great game plan by Aaron Glenn, right? I mean, a much needed game plan, because obviously coming to this game we were giving up 30 plus points. You give up 48 to the Bills, and then you give up 30 plus to San Fran, who's not even in the playoffs, and then you give up 30 more against the Bears. So this was a game that the Lions defense needed to shine, and they really did. So Gibbs, we'll get to the defense in a little bit, but Jahmyr Gibbs, this guy's the MVP of this game, right? He has to be. This guy was on fire, dude. This guy, his nickname is Sonic. You damn right it is, because this guy had 23 carries, 139 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, which was a career high for him, and then he had 5 catches for 31 yards and 1 touchdown. So he had 4 total touchdowns in this game. I mean, early on, you saw, the first play, handing off to Gibbs. I think the Lions wanted to establish a big running game early on, and that's exactly what they did. And he was unbelievable. I mean, the stats don't speak for themselves. I mean, he was all over the place Sunday night, and he needed that little confidence booster. Obviously, you don't have David Montgomery. We might get him back in the playoffs. We're not sure yet. Still dealing with that knee injury. But Jahmyr Gibbs, he's been carrying the load for over a month now, ever since that devastating knee injury that David Montgomery suffered. So yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs, obviously, this guy was on fire Sunday night. And then, he has 20 total touchdowns. After all 4 of those touchdowns on Sunday night, gave him 20 total touchdowns on the season, which is a franchise record. He surpassed Jamal Williams, who had 17 total touchdowns back in 2022. So, yeah, great game for Jahmyr Gibbs. And Jared Goff, 27 for 33, 231 yards, 1 touchdown, those 2 picks, early in the game. Yeah, that was unfortunate, but like I said, we got to talk about this Detroit Lions defense, and here we are. Great transition, right? We go from the offensive side to defense. So defense, Lions defense, obviously we got many guys on IR, a handful of guys. I do believe it was 11 last time I checked on IR. That's depressing, right? That's disturbing. That sucks. That really, really sucks, especially in the playoffs. You have to play defense. I tell you what, the Lions, how they play defense against the Vikings, if they can keep that up, many great things can happen for this team. But yeah, the Detroit Lions defense, let's talk about that. 0 for 4 in the red zone. Vikings charging downfield, we stopped them 4 times in the red zone, inside the 20-yard line. That's defense right there. That's top-notch defense. I don't think you can get any better than that. 0 for 4. in the red zone against a very good offense, especially Sam Darnold, who's been kicking ass past month or so. Really? I mean, that's awesome. That was a great game by the Detroit Lions defense. 0 for 4 in the red zone. They only allowed 142 passing yards. 0 for 3 on fourth down conversions. So they went for it on fourth down. We stopped them all 3 times. So fourth down, inside the red zone, our defense was on fire. They were on point, man. Nobody can stop them. They were like, hey, this is our house. You're not getting into it. We're protecting our side of the field. And that's exactly what the Detroit Lions did. And like I said earlier in the podcast, Aaron Glenn, what a great plan. What a great scheme. What a great game plan he came up with. I think that was much needed because, now we got a week where we can rest, right? But now we got to watch out for these other teams in the NFC playing in the playoffs. The Eagles, the Packers, Vikings, Rams on Monday night. That's going to be a very interesting matchup. But great defense. Great defensive game. Couldn't ask for anything better. Aaron Glenn, you did a hell of a job, my man. So that was awesome to see. But yeah, that I think that was the turning point. In the red zone on fourth down, our defense came up big, came up huge. I mean, 0 for 4 in the red zone, 0 for 3 on fourth down. Couldn't get any better than that. So then now we got to go to Vikings side. So Sam Darnold, 18 for 41. Not his greatest game. 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And then Justin Jefferson, top 3 wide receiver in the game. 3 catches for 54 yards. That's amazing. That is absolutely phenomenal that we held him to only 3 catches for 54 yards, 0 touchdowns. I mean, are you kidding me? This is Justin Jefferson we're talking about. Top 3 wide receiver. Crazy that the Lions defense, who's been very shaky the past, month or so, they came up big Sunday night against the Vikings. So you had that going on. And then for the Lions, they ended the regular season as the NFL points leader. 564 points they scored this season. Second most in franchise history. I do believe in 2011 they had scored like 571 points. When they had that great season where it seemed like Matthew Stafford was throwing for 300-plus yards and 4 touchdowns every single game. But then we lost to the Saints in the wild card round of the playoffs. Yeah, I remember that year. That was Matthew Stafford's 3rd year, and he actually played all season because he had a couple of injuries early on in his career. So that was his first healthy season, and we in the playoffs, we just couldn't beat those Saints. But anyways, getting off track here. But yeah, the Lions, NFL points leader after 18 weeks, 564. More than the Bills, who's second, Ravens, Buccaneers, Washington, Bengals, and Eagles. So out of all those teams, one of them's not in the playoffs. Obviously, you know who it is, the Bengals, right? And so we can talk about the Bengals a little bit here. They got hot late in December, too late. You had to start off in September. And it seems like in September, they can't win a game. They always have a crappy start to the season. For some reason, they just cannot win a game in September. And you can't do that. You got to win games in September, and then you got to win games in October, November. I don't think I'm the guy to tell you how to play football. But when you start off bad, like the Bengals did, and then you get hot late like they did in December, Joe Burrow, he led the league in passing yards, passing touchdowns, and you still can't make it to the playoffs. That's really depressing. So, yeah, the Bengals, they're out of the playoffs. They fired their defensive coordinator a couple days ago, so they're looking for a new DC over there in Cincinnati. So Joe Burrow, so he had 49. Let's see here. So yeah, he had 4,918 passing yards, which is first in the NFL. Jamar Chase had 708 yards receiving, which is first, and then Trey Hendrickson had 17.5 sacks, which is first in the NFL. I think that was the first time ever that a team led in passing yards, receiving yards, and sacks and didn't make it to the playoffs. That sucks. I mean, that's a heartbreaker, dude. I mean, how is that even possible, bro? It just doesn't make sense. So, yeah, the Bengals, obviously scoring points, but not in the playoffs. So, Lions at the top for the points leader after 18 weeks. And then Dan Campbell, ever since he came here and became the head coach in 2021, he's gone for 31% of the time. And this is according to a gambling page I follow on Instagram. And he's converted 82 times, and he's failed 65 times. So he has a 55% conversion rate. That's crazy. You think of all the times, you go for on fourth down. You know how he is. He's rolling the dice, man. He don't care. He trusts his guys to get the job done, to convert on fourth down, to extend the drive. And you know what? Him going for it, converted 2 out of the 4 times in the game Sunday night against the Vikings. You won. You won the game because those 2 conversions led to touchdowns. So 2 for 4 on fourth down. One was to Gibbs on a receiving touchdown, one of the fourth down plays. We were inside the red zone there. And then another conversion, fourth down conversion, led to another touchdown by Gibbs, of all people, right? So Lions, they know this is their identity. As a Lions fan, this is what we gotta have to accept. I mean, Dan Campbell's going to go for it. 4th and 2, 4th and 1, 4th and inches, 4th and 5 even. He don't care. He trusts his guys. He trusts that offense, who's been doing really well. Scoring points. Jared Goff looking good. Besides throwing those 2 interceptions, he trusts his team, and that is a coach that you want to play for. So Dan Campbell, dude. Dan Campbell, Dan Gamble, whatever you want to call him. He knows what he's doing, and this guy's unbelievable. He can stay here for a long time. I don't care. I believe in Dan Campbell. So, yeah, that was a great game by the Detroit Lions. Lions and Vikings. What a way to end Week 18 between 2 14-win teams. First time ever in the regular season we've seen that. So, yeah, great way to end Week 18. The Lions are on a bye, and it's gonna be good. A much needed bye for these Detroit Lions. Maybe we can get a couple guys back for the second divisional round of the playoffs. So, yeah, regular season over. So I hope you guys had fun watching the regular season. Hopefully, if you guys did fantasy football, if you guys won, congratulations. I hope you had fun doing that. But now, regular season's over. We got to hop into the wild card round real quick. But before we do that, we got to do the rest of Week 18, as the Bryce always does on the podcast. So Week 18 started with 2 Saturday games. You had the Ravens and the Browns. So Ravens handling their business. Lamar Jackson looking awesome. Might be the MVP. Might be Josh Allen. Who knows? We'll find out in a few weeks here. But the Ravens win at home 35-10 against the Browns, who look absolutely awful. And then the Bengals, they won against the Steelers. Steelers not looking good. They lost 5 straight going into the regular season, or at the end, at the tail end of the regular season. You can't do that. And the Steelers are a playoff team going up against the Ravens. It's going to be a tough one, but we'll get into that in a little bit. The Bengals win 19-17. And like I said, Joe Burrow leads the league in passing yards, 4,918 passing yards. Jamar Chase leads the league in receiving yards, 1,708 yards. And then Trey Hendrickson leads the league in sacks, 17.5 sacks. All league leaders, they don't make it to the playoffs. And then Jamar Chase is the triple crown for receiving. He reception yards, and reception touchdowns. And he still doesn't make it to the playoffs. So they didn't want to sign him to a contract extension this offseason or last offseason. They better sign him to a big deal this season. I mean, look what he did. I mean, the stats don't lie. It's just unfortunate they got hot late in the season. They should have started it like this and continued. Be consistent down the road. But, September was a horrible month for them. And then, they kind of were up and down through October, November. And then December, they got really hot. But it was too late. So, yeah, they win. But then the Broncos won because, Kansas City decided to put in their practice squad defense in there and kind of screwed the Bengals. But you know what? It's the Bengals' fault. You know when the season starts. You know what you have to do to win games. You put all these stats up. It's great. It's wonderful. It's awesome to see. Great athletes. But you gotta perform, and especially in the early months, September. You got to win games, and they were not able to do that. So Bengals win that one against the struggling Steelers. And then Sunday, obviously, you had the whole rest of the lineup. So, yeah, we had the Panthers and the Falcons, 44-38. Panthers win in overtime. I mean, Panthers looked like a decent team these past few months after starting off god-awful. I mean, horrible. So, team to watch possibly next year if they can get decent draft picks and get Bryce Young some protection. And then Michael Penix, he had a couple touchdowns. He had 2 touchdowns in this game. It it is what it is. He looked all right. You know, I mean, what's going to happen with Kirk Cousins now? I mean, get rid of him? I mean, a lot of questions for the Falcons this offseason. So you had that. The Commanders winning against the Cowboys, 23-19, division game. Commanders in the playoffs, and Cowboys been eliminated for a couple weeks now. Trey Lance started in this game, not Cooper Rush, who's been the starter for many months now since Dak Prescott's injury. And then the Bears winning on a last-second field goal, getting their revenge from a few months ago when they got their field goal blocked by the Packers. This time, it did not happen. The Bears win on the road against the Packers. This is kind of a crappy defeat for the Packers if you're a Packers fan, because you want to have that momentum going into the playoffs. You know, you're not going to win the NFC North. That's between the Lions and the Vikings. Obviously, the Lions won back-to-back. I mean, you gotta win that game at home against a Bears team who not special at all. So, I don't know. Packers are in trouble when they go to the Eagles this weekend. I think they're going to be in a lot of trouble. So you had that. The Texans win on the road against the Titans, division matchup, 23-14 there. And then the Colts win at home in overtime against Jaguars, 26-23. The Patriots beating the Bills. The Bills rested their stars, obviously. Patriots win at home, 23-16. They fired Jared Mayo. Like, what? His first year as head coach, and he's gone. See ya. Bye-bye. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like that. You know, it's the first year, dude. He was put in a crappy situation. What do you think was going to happen this year? You think they were going to win the division? You think they were going to compete in the playoffs? You got to be messed up out of your mind if you think that. You must be on something. Like, dude, this guy deserved another chance at least, another season. But no, 1 and out, that's it? Yeah, I didn't like that. So, Jared Mayo, I feel for you, my friend. That's BS. I don't like that. First year head coach and he's gone. Forget about it. No, that's not right. So you had that. Eagles winning at home against the Giants. So the Eagles looking very hot right now, very dangerous. You had that going on. So the Eagles win at home. They're 8-1 at home this year. So very dangerous team. The Buccaneers win this one against the Saints, 27-19. And also in this game, we saw Mike Evans get 1,000 yards receiving, 11th straight year, getting 1,000 yards in receiving for Mike Evans, which ties Jerry Rice's record for consecutive 1,000-yard receiving seasons. So Mike Evans, congrats, you deserve that, my friend. He gets a $3 million incentive bonus, so making that money, man, that's awesome. So you had that going on. They're in the playoffs. The Broncos destroying the Chiefs. Obviously, like I said, the Chiefs rested all their stars. They got the number 1 seed in the AFC. Broncos win at home, 38-0. Broncos are in the playoffs. Their defense looking really good right now. The Chargers beating the Raiders on the road, 34-20. They're in the playoffs going up against the Texans this weekend. That's going to be a good one. The Seahawks beat the Rams on the road, 30-25. But the Seahawks missing the playoffs this year. So, yeah, crazy, right? 10 wins, not enough. 10 wins, not enough nowadays. You know, maybe 20 years ago it was, but not anymore. Maybe for a wild card, but yeah, not anymore. It's crazy. But you had that. So then the Jets beat the Dolphins, which could be Aaron Rodgers' last game. Who knows? You know, we'll have to see what happens there. He had a 4-touchdown game, 274 yards. Looked like the Aaron Rodgers of many years ago, but they win at home against the Dolphins. Dolphins are out of the playoffs as well. The Cardinals dominating the 49ers, 47-24. Neither of these teams are in the playoffs. So good game there by the Cardinals. And then, like I said, the Detroit Lions, NFC North champions, beat the Vikings 31-9. Their defense, the highlight of the game, Jahmyr Gibbs, the MVP of the game. That was a much-needed win for the Lions. They can stay home and rest and, get ready for the second round of the playoffs. So that's the NFL Week 18 regular season. We are done. We are done with the regular season. Now we got to hop over to the wild card round of the playoffs, baby. Woo! Let's go. Let's do this. So the first game, we got the Chargers and the Texans. It's going to be a good one. Number 5, Chargers going up against number 4, Texans. Texans winning that AFC South. So they're going to host this one. You got this game on at Saturday, 4:30 on CBS and Paramount Plus. So Chargers and Texans. I like this one. This is going to be a very interesting one. So the Chargers ended their regular season on a 3-game winning streak. They beat the Raiders, the Patriots, and the Broncos. They're 3-point favorites, according to CBS Sports, against the Texans. And they're 12-5 against the spread this season. Justin Herbert, he led the league, he's listed 9th in passing yards, 3,870 passing yards, 12th in passing touchdowns with 23, 11th in QBR, 65.3. So Justin Herbert's been playing some very good football these past couple weeks. Ladd McConkey, his favorite receiver, he led the team in targets, 112, receptions, 112, receiving yards, 1,149 yards there. 7 touchdowns with 15 receptions, 20-plus yards. I mean, he's the guy. You give it to him. So in this game, I'm looking to see Ladd McConkey be that guy for Justin Herbert. So McConkey, throw it to him. He's going to be your guy. But then watch out for J.K. Dobbins in that running game too for the Chargers. They're really good there. So you have that. And then on the flip side for the Texans, you got C.J. Stroud. 6 games with multiple passing touchdowns. He's really coming alive these past couple of weeks. I mean, he looked kind of not too good in the regular season. You know, that Christmas game against the Ravens, they did not look good at all, only scoring a safety against the Ravens. But we'll see how he can do at home. Then Nico Collins leads the team in catches on 68 yards, 1,006 receiving yards, 7 touchdowns, despite missing 5 games. And crazy enough, C.J. Stroud, Ohio State Buckeye, Nico Collins, Michigan Wolverine. Look at this. Ohio State and Michigan working together. Well, as you can see in the stats, it works for the Texans. However, the Chargers have the best defense in the NFL. They lead the league in that. They've only allowed 17.7 points per game, and defense wins championships. Right? In this situation, it does. I got the Chargers winning this one on the road against the Texans. I don't trust C.J. Stroud. I think it's going to be too much pressure for him and that defense for the Chargers. Jim Harbaugh's first year as head coach leads his team to the playoffs. They're going to win this one. I got the Texans beating the Chargers on the road Saturday, 4:30 on CBS. So Chargers over. My pick is the Chargers over the Texans in that one. And then we got another game going on Saturday. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers going up against the Ravens. They're playing in Baltimore. So obviously the Baltimore Ravens won the AFC North this year, back-to-back years. Steelers are on a 5-game. They have a 5-game postseason losing streak. Their last win came in 2016. I was 20 years old. 20 years old, man. Last time the Pittsburgh Steelers won a postseason game. That's crazy because growing up, Pittsburgh Steelers were one of the best teams in the NFL. I mean, obviously the Patriots were, kings, right? They dominated the NFL for almost 2 decades. But the Pittsburgh Steelers were always kind of in the playoff hunt. They won a couple Super Bowls when I was a kid. So for them to not win a postseason game since 2016, that's sad, man. That's not good at all. But yeah, 5-game postseason game losing streak for these Steelers, and then they come into the season losing 5 in a row. Like, that's not good, man. And they don't look good at all. Like, Russell Wilson does not look good throwing the football. Their defense is giving up too many big plays. They got to figure something out. So you have that. And then the Ravens coming to this game, obviously they lost the AFC Championship game to the defending Super Bowl champions, the Chiefs, who are on a bye week. And then, as I mentioned, Steelers lost 5 in a row. They're 5-4 on the road this year. So just above 500 there. The Ravens won back-to-back AFC Norths. They won 4 in a row, and they're 6-2 at home. So tale of 2 different teams, right? One team's on a losing streak going into the playoffs. One's on a winning streak going into the playoffs. And then the Ravens are 10-point favorites. 10-point favorites. And this is from CBSSports.com. So that right there should tell you that the Ravens are ready to throw down, right? And then earlier in the season, in the regular season, these 2 teams split the series. Steelers won in a very close one earlier in the year in October, 18-15. That was a close one there. And then just a few weeks ago, right before the holidays, before Christmas, the Ravens won at home against the Steelers. So they split the division series in the regular season, but now we're talking about playoffs. So who's going to win this one? Steelers, Ravens, iconic matchup here, a classic rivalry game. It's going to be physical. There's going to be pushing and shoving. Might be low scoring. We'll see what happens. You got Lamar Jackson, who's arguably could be the NFL MVP, right alongside Josh Allen. We'll get to him in a little bit. Ravens playing at home, 10-point favorites. I'm picking the Ravens in this one. Lamar Jackson's going to be too much for that Steelers defense. And Russell Wilson, I do not trust him in this situation. He's old. He does not look good these past few weeks. 5-game losing streak. That's god-awful. The Ravens win this one at home. So I got the Ravens over the Steelers. And then you got the Broncos and the Bills. So number 7 seed Broncos. They play on Sunday, 1 p.m. on CBS. And then, by the way, that Steelers and Ravens game is going to be on Amazon Prime Saturday, 8 p.m. So Broncos and Bills, Sunday, 1 p.m. on CBS. So this one, the Bills, obviously the AFC East champs. Bills won. They went 13-4 on the season, won 4 out of 6 games going to the final regular season game. 8-0 at home, undefeated at home. You can't beat this team at home. They play in negative 20-degree weather. They play in 10 feet in snow. They don't care. They'll play anywhere. But at home, they are really good. 8-0, undefeated. They won 6 games by 6 or more points. So, Bills are ready to go. Josh Allen has a combined 40 passing and rushing touchdowns. He could be the MVP, the NFL MVP, alongside Lamar Jackson. We'll see what happens when the awards come out in a couple weeks. But Josh Allen playing arguably his best football yet. Broncos, 5-2 in their last 7 games, scored at least 24 points. So Bo Nix getting his first playoff experience, his first playoff game against the Bills. And you got to go to the Bills. So it's going to be cold. There might be 10 feet of snow on the ground. You never know. It's Buffalo. It's crazy. It's insane over there on the East Coast. Thank God I live in Michigan. But it's going to be cold. We all know that. It's January in Buffalo. It's going to be cold. So Bo Nix might have a little trouble experiencing that. But yeah, his first playoff game, and it's going to be Sean Payton's first playoff game as the Denver Broncos head coach. So very exciting news there. The Broncos have the third best defense, allowing 18.3 points per game, and then the Bills have the second best offense, scoring 30.9 points per game. I mean, defense wins championships, right? I just don't see that happening in this situation. Offense wins. Home team wins. Josh Allen wins. I got the Buffalo Bills beating the Broncos at home Sunday, 1 p.m. in the wild card round of the playoffs. So you have that. So now that's the AFC side. Now we got to hop over to the NFC side. We got 2 games on Sunday and then 1 on Monday. We'll go with the first NFC game. Sunday, 4:30 on Fox. You got the number 7 Green Bay Packers, number 2 Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles playing at home. The Eagles are NFC North champions. Rematch from the opening game this season in Brazil, where the Philadelphia Eagles won in a great game. A great way to start off the 2024 season, right? 34-29, they won that one. And it's the 4th time these 2 teams have met in the postseason. And then the Eagles are 4.5-point favorites in this one. They're 8-1 at home. 8-1. That's great. Christian Watson's out with a torn ACL, one of Jordan Love's top targets. He's going to be gone, so Jaden Reed's got to step up. Romeo Doubs has to step up. Hunter Kraft has to step up. Josh Jacobs, you got to feed him the ball more. He's been great for that offense of the Packers. But the Eagles with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, and that defense is very scary. 8-1 at home. The Eagles are kicking ass right now. I have to go with the Eagles at home against the Packers. The Packers, who knows if Jordan Love is going to play because of elbow injury he suffered this past week. I'm sure he'll find a way to get in, but this Eagles team, very scary right now. And playing at home, it's to their advantage. I got the Eagles winning this one against the Packers. So yeah, that game. And then the second game, Sunday Night Football, 8 p.m., NBC. You got the Washington Commanders, led by a rookie phenom, Jaden Daniels, going up against Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield. A career resurgence, perhaps, for Baker Mayfield. He's been bounced around all over the league, but I think he found his home, finally. finally, after all this time with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So you got this game. This is going to be a very exciting one. I'm actually personally very excited this game's happening because it's the 4th straight NFC title for the Bucs. So that's good for them. You know, they've been playing some very good football past couple of years. The Washington, they're on a 5-game winning streak, rather. 5 games to end the regular season. I mean, that's a great way. That gives you a lot of confidence going into the wild card round of the playoffs. So 5-game winning streak for the Washington Commanders. It's a rematch from week 1, these two teams, where the Buccaneers came out on top. They were victorious, 37-20. Tampa Bay is a 3-point favorite in this one, according to CBS.com. Commanders are 10-6-1 against the spread, and the Buccaneers are 10-7 against the spread. So Jaden Daniels, the rookie phenom for the Washington Commanders, quarterback out of LSU, he has completed 69% of his passes. He has 3,568 yards, 25 passing touchdowns. He leads the team in rushing with 891 rushing yards, and he's got 6 rushing touchdowns. In week 1, he had 184 passing yards and 88 rushing yards with 2 rushing touchdowns. So definitely gave us a hint of what he was going to be this season. He's been phenomenal. I mean, that guy, if he doesn't win Rookie of the Year, there's something wrong with the NFL. That guy is unbelievable. And then his favorite target, Scary Terry McLaurin out of Ohio State. They produce a lot of great wide receivers there. We'll get to that in a little bit. But he leads the team in targets, 117. Receptions, 82. Yards, 1,096 receiving yards. And touchdowns, 13 touchdowns for Terry McLaurin. So I'm expecting a lot of action from Terry McLaurin. If the Buccaneers cannot stop him, I want to see Terry McLaurin, or expect a lot of Terry McLaurin in this game. So you have that. Now we got to go on the flip side. Baker Mayfield. He's third in passing yards this season, 4,500 yards there. Passing touchdowns, 41. That's tied for second. 6 games this year he had where he threw for over 300 yards. That guy, a passing machine. Well, when you got Mike Evans, your favorite target, I mean, anything's possible, right? And then Mike Evans, 74 receptions, 1,004 yards, 11 touchdowns. And as we mentioned earlier in the podcast, 11 straight seasons with 1,000+ receiving yards for Mr. Mike Evans. Ties Jerry Rice's record. The greatest wide receiver of all time, arguably, right? That's awesome. I'm glad he got that to end the regular season, but now it's playoff time. They're playing at home. You got to get serious. Got to make up, 1,000 yards, great. Can you win a playoff game? Well, let's do it. And Mike Evans has had 60 plus receiving yards in 7 straight games. Like that, crazy, dude. So he's going to get the ball. If the Washington Commanders can't stop him, it's going to be a long night for the Washington Commanders. So who's going to win this one, the Commanders or the Buccaneers? Do I go with the rookie who's been sensational, or do I go with the veteran who's had a career resurgence, a career resurrection in Baker Mayfield? I am going to go with the rookie. I got the Washington Commanders winning on the road against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's going to be an exciting one. Watch that one. Sunday, 8 o'clock, NBC. And then the final game for the NFC side of the NFL playoffs. You got Monday Night Football, 8 p.m., ESPN, ABC, ESPN Plus. Wherever you're going to watch the game, watch it. Number 5, Vikings going up against number 4, Rams. So Vikings, 14 wins, and they're the 5th seed. Yeah, I mean, that's what they were playing for against the Lions Sunday night. And that's crappy. That's horrible. That's god-awful. But you got to do, but it is what it is. Excuse me. The Vikings are traveling to the Rams. The Rams won the NFC West. It's a rematch from the October 20th matchup between these two, where the Rams won 30-20. Sam Darnold in that game went for 18-25, 240 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jefferson had 8 receptions for 115 yards, no touchdowns. And then Stafford was on fire this game. 25 for 34, 279 yards, 4 touchdowns. He had 1 interception, but Puka Nacua had 7 receptions for 106 yards. And I said many times on this podcast, a fully healthy Rams team is dangerous, especially on the offensive side. When you got Stafford, you got Nacua, you got Kyron Williams, you got Cooper Kupp. That's dangerous. So watch out for the Rams. And then the Vikings come into this game Monday night as a 1.5 point favorite. The Rams are 4-2 against the spread at home. And the Rams, they look good, man. They look good. So who's going to win this one, the Vikings or the Rams? Do you go with Sam Darnold, who's had a hell of a year, another career resurrection, just like Baker Mayfield, similar to Baker Mayfield? Or do you go with the Rams? You know, Matthew Stafford, playoff experience. I'm going to go with the Rams at home. I like the Rams. I'm picking the Rams. Rams win this one against the Vikings. This wild card round is going to be insane. Starts Saturday, 4:30 with the Chargers and the Texans. Place your bets. Watch it with your friends and family. It's going to be awesome. And then the Lions, go Lions. Even though you got the bye week this week, better get ready for the second round of the playoffs because the NFC looking very dangerous, especially those Eagles. You know, I would watch out for the Commanders, maybe in the Buccaneers even. I mean, anyone, even the Rams, you know. So, yeah, go Lions. But, yeah, the playoffs are here, man. I can't wait. Watch it. It's going to be a fun one. So we have that. That's the NFL. Enough NFL. We've discussed a lot of NFL, a lot of Detroit Lions, as we usually do right here on Guys Time with the Bries. But now we got to talk about the college football playoff. Obviously, we got the semifinals coming up Thursday night. We got Penn State going up against Notre Dame in the Orange Bowl, 7:30 on ESPN. And Friday, the Cotton Bowl. We got the Texas Longhorns going up against the Ohio State Buckeyes, 7:30 on ESPN. We'll get into that in a little bit. But now we got to talk about these games that happen on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So New Year's Eve, the Fiesta Bowl. Penn State, number 6 Penn State going up against number 3 Boise State. Penn State won this one, 31-14. Penn State scored two quick touchdowns in the first quarter. You kind of knew how the game was going to go after that, right? 14-0, 14-0, first quarter for Penn State. Boise State, you can't do that against a very good Penn State team there. Ashton Jeanty, who was the Heisman winner runner-up this season, he had 30 rushes for 104 yards. That's unbelievable if you're the Penn State defense. To hold that guy to 104 yards and 0 touchdowns, unbelievable. So Penn State's defense came up huge in this one. Maddox Madsen, quarterback for Boise State, he had 3 interceptions in this game. Yeah, you can't do that against Penn State. You cannot do that. And at halftime, it was 17-7. Like I said, the writing was kind of on the wall after that. Drew Aller, Penn State's quarterback, 3 touchdowns in this game. He looked fantastic. Penn State's defense allowing only 108 rushing yards. And on the season, they have only allowed 100.9 yards rushing yards per game, which is 8th best in all of college football. That's unbelievable. So their run defense was outstanding, Penn State's was. And then they were allowing 15.8 points per game, which is 7th throughout college football. So Penn State's defense definitely came up huge in this one against Boise State. You know, they thought they were going to run the ball all day with Ashton Jeanty, and it did not work. It did not work for the Boise State Broncos. But yeah, Penn State looked absolutely fantastic. So they move on. They're playing the Notre Dame Fighting Irish in the Orange Bowl. So you have that one. And then now the Peach Bowl. We got to talk about this one. Texas and Arizona State. Number 5 Texas, number 4 Arizona State. This game went to 2 overtimes. 2. I mean, if you're Texas, how do you allow Arizona State come back and take you to 2 overtimes? I mean, that's really concerning, especially when you got Ohio State in a couple days, right? But yeah, Texas wins in double overtime, 39-31. Best game by far throughout this college football playoff, in my opinion. You know, a lot of dramatics in this one. Quinn Ewers looked fantastic, 20 for 30, 322 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. And then Cam Scatterbo, running back for the Arizona State Sun Devils, claimed to be the best running back in the country. Well, early on he didn't look too good, but later in the game he started to pick it up. 30 rushes for 143 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had 1 passing touchdown, and he also converted a 2-point conversion. So I tell you what, you can criticize him all you want, but he left it all on the field that night. 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 passing touchdown. He converted a 2-point conversion. Like, dude, that's heart right there, man. I don't know. I mean, heart, guts, whatever you want to call it. He left it all on the field in that game. But unfortunately, Texas prevailed. So you had that. Texas had 10 penalties in this game. You can't commit that many penalties and expect to win. I mean, they're lucky they didn't even win this one. The Texas Longhorns against the Arizona State Sun Devils. So you had that. And then the running back for the Texas Longhorns, Quintravion Wisner. He had 18 carries for 45 yards. He did get hurt in this game, but he's been a highlight player throughout the entire season for the Texas Longhorns. He had total the defense, or Texas had 53 rushing yards. So they definitely need to get back to that running game because that was their bread and butter for most of this season. And then they had 322 passing yards. Matthew Golden, one of their top receivers for Texas, had 7 receptions for 144 yards and 1 touchdown. And Gunnar Helm, another great wide receiver for Texas Longhorns, had 3 receptions for 56 yards and 1 touchdown. So Quinn Ewers did his job. He won. You know, you're the quarterback of a big-time school, big-time program, especially the past few years. And he won. So, yeah, I'm really concerned about Texas in this one, going into Ohio State, who, in my opinion, the toughest team, the scariest team in the playoffs right now. And that nice transition again. We now have to hop over to that iconic Rose Bowl game. So number 8 Ohio State going up against number 1 Oregon. Oregon was on a bye week. And by the way, all the bye week teams, they did not win. So Boise State lost. Arizona State lost. Oregon lost. Georgia lost. I mean, I think that bye week kind of bit them in the ass a little bit, huh? Maybe. But number 1 Oregon. Oregon's been the number 1 team since mid-October. This time, Ohio State got their revenge. 41-21 in this one. They looked absolutely dominant. I mean, for the first 10 minutes, we kind of knew, if you're an intelligent football fan, you knew where this game was going to head. You knew Ohio State was going to dominate Oregon. Oregon didn't show up. I mean, I don't know if they just slept, forgot they had a game that day. You know, it's the Rose Bowl. You move on. If you win to the semifinal of the college football playoff, you're the number 1 team. We won't show up. We'll just let Ohio State win. And yeah, they did. They destroyed you. They absolutely annihilated you, dude. I mean, it was horrible. Rematch, and obviously got their revenge because it was a rematch from the October 12th game of the regular season when Oregon won at home 32-31. Great game, right? Not this time. Ohio State dominating, absolutely destroying the Oregon Ducks. Like I said, Oregon Ducks, they didn't show up. They didn't show up for 3.5 quarters. Jeremiah Smith, true freshman. This guy has been unbelievable. He caught 2 long passes from Will Howard. Will Howard was 17 for 26, 319 yards, and 3 touchdowns for that guy. And then Jeremiah Smith had 7 receptions for 187 yards and 2 touchdowns. And dude, I think before halftime, he had 4 receptions for 168 yards and 2 touchdowns. And that was before halftime. So you kind of knew, like I said earlier, the writing was on the wall. Oregon, done. Dude, when you have, and this is crazy, 34 points in the first half for Ohio State. 34 points. They could only score 10 against Michigan. Yeah, I had to get it out there. I know you guys are sick and tired of hearing about, Michigan beat Ohio State. I had to get it out there. I apologize. But Ohio State, 34 points in the first half, 34-8 at halftime. Dude, this game was done a long time ago. Well, when you score 2 touchdowns in the first 5-10 minutes of the game, yeah, you kind of know where that game's going to go. And then Oregon, listen to this stat. Negative 23 yards rushing. Yeah, let me say that again. Negative 23 yards rushing. You really think you're going to beat a great team like Ohio State if you have negative 23 yards rushing? No. I mean, I saw that. I was just like, what? I mean, I had to make sure. I had to refresh the page. Negative 23 rushing yards for Oregon. And you think you're going to win by doing that? No. That was god-awful. God-awful. Travion Henderson, Ohio State running back. 8 touches, 8 carries, 94 yards, 2 touchdowns. And he had a long 66-yard touchdown run. Kind of sealed the deal. Obviously, like I said, we all knew where this game was going to go. Quinshawn Judkins. Yeah, Quinshawn Judkins. He had 17 carries for 85 yards. And then all-time record for Rose Bowl appearances. Ohio State has a 10-7 overall record for the Rose Bowl. So pretty good. Pretty good. And then this was the third time these two met in the Rose Bowl, the first since 2010. I was in junior high last time these two played in the Rose Bowl. And that time, the Ohio State Buckeyes lost that one. So Ohio State looked absolutely great in this one. Like I said, of the 4 teams in the semifinals, they're the toughest team. I mean, they're playing great football. They're on a mission. They're mad. They want a national championship. So, Rose Bowl, dominated by Ohio State. Oregon didn't show up. Just go home. You know, you're number 1 team in the country. You sure as hell didn't look like it. You got your asses kicked. So, no more Oregon. Ohio State's on. They go up against Texas. That's going to be an interesting one in the Cotton Bowl. And then the last game on New Year's Day, Sugar Bowl. You had number 7 Notre Dame going up against number 2 Georgia. Notre Dame won this one 23-10. Notre Dame had 154 rushing yards. They had the 11th best rushing offense in the regular season, averaging 217.5 yards per carry. So you knew Notre Dame was going to run the ball. That's their identity. Run the ball, control the clock, control the line of scrimmage, you know, wear and tear, beat down that defense. And that's what they did against Georgia. You know, Georgia was out Carson Beck, who's been the star most of the season. Gunnar Stockton came in. He did all right. He did pretty good. 20 of 32, 234 yards, 1 touchdown. But to score 10 points in the college football playoff, yeah, you're not going to succeed. I mean, you're not going to succeed at all when you only score 10 points in the college football playoff. So you had that. Jeremiah Love, running back for Notre Dame. He had 6 carries for 19 yards. He did get hurt, so we'll see if he comes back to go up against Penn State in the Orange Bowl. But then Jadarian Price carried a load, 10 carries for 37 yards. Notre Dame held the ball for 31 minutes and 47 seconds. And that's their identity, man. I said it earlier. They run the ball. They run it down your throat. They exhaust you. They break you down. And Georgia just couldn't do anything. They couldn't keep up. I mean, on offense, they look bad. You know, drop passes. You know, couldn't get the running game going. That defense of Notre Dame came up huge. But yeah, Notre Dame. And I picked them to beat Georgia. You know, if you listened to my podcast last week. So Notre Dame moves on. So those were the games for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. But now we got to go to the semifinals of the college football playoffs. So the Final Four, no, it's not college basketball. This is the Final Four for college football, not basketball. College football. And it's going to be an interesting one. So we got national championship games on ESPN Monday, January 20th, and Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, 7:30 on ESPN. So you have that. But now Thursday, we got the Orange Bowl. We got Penn State and Notre Dame. So number 6, Penn State, going against number 7, Notre Dame, 7:30 ESPN at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida. So it's going to be pretty warm there for both teams. Might be wet too. It does rain a lot in Florida. Penn State, they won a combined 69-24. Or their 2 college football playoff games they've competed against so far. They've won a combined score of 69-24. I get it. They probably had the easiest path to the playoffs. They played MSU. They dominated. Boise State, they handled their business. But yeah, combined 69-24. I mean, that's impressive, right? I mean, like I said, going up against SMU and Boise State. Is that really competition, right? But then you go up against Notre Dame, regular season 10-game winning streak coming into this one. They've won 12 straight overall. Notre Dame's a 2.5-point favorite in this one. So if you're betting this weekend, watch out for that one. Play that one, perhaps, for Notre Dame. Penn State's defense, they held their 7 out of their 9 opponents 20 points or fewer. So 7 out of their 9 opponents this season, they've held their opponents to 20 points or fewer. So that defense is legit for Penn State. But they're going up against a great offense, a run offense team in Notre Dame. They won 12 straight since losing to Northern Illinois earlier in the year. Big upset, one of the most shocking upsets we've seen in college football this year. But they've been on a roll since. So that running game of Notre Dame, can they go up against that run defense of Penn State? I got the Notre Dame Fighting Irish winning this one. I like them. It's going to be a close matchup. Might be low scoring with all the running and the run defense going on in this one, but I like the Notre Dame Fighting Irish winning this one against the Penn State Nittany Lions. 2 iconic franchises, 2 iconic schools, football programs too. So that's cool to see. But yeah, that's on Thursday, 7:30, ESPN, Orange Bowl live from Miami in Florida. So that's going to be a good one there. And then Friday, January 10th, Cotton Bowl. You got number 5 Texas going up against number 8 Ohio State, 7:30 on ESPN at AT&T Stadium in Texas. So perhaps a home game for the Texas Longhorns. So Cotton Bowl, another two iconic programs here, the Buckeyes and the Longhorns. The Buckeyes are 1-2 all time versus Texas. The last time these two played each other was the 08-09 season. Ohio State lost 24-21 against the Texas Longhorns. So it's been many years since the last time these two met up. So this one's going to be an interesting one too. Ohio State's 4-1 against AP ranked teams. Texas is 6-2 against ranked teams. The Buccaneers not the Buccaneers, Jesus. The Buckeyes are 5.5-point favorites coming to this game against the Longhorns. Jeremiah Smith leads the team. He's got 70 receptions for 1,224 yards and 14 touchdowns. And he did all that as a true freshman. Dude, I said it earlier. The Ohio State Buckeyes, they produce wide receivers. Jackson Smith-Njigba, Ibuka, Michael Jenkins from many, many years ago, Michael Thomas, Terry McLaurin. All these are former and current NFL players. They know how to produce. Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave. Jeremiah Smith, he's only a true freshman, man. Who knows what this guy can do for the rest of his career at Ohio State. But yeah, to do all that as a true freshman, that's phenomenal, dude. Phenomenal. I'll give you your props, and that's fine. And then Wisner, running back for the Texans. In 14 games, he's got 209 carries, 1,018 yards, 5 touchdowns. So he is a very reliable asset on that offense in the running game for Texas Longhorns. And then he went 38. He's got 38 carries for 269 yards and a touchdown, and he surpassed 100 yards 4 times this season. So yeah, he's reliable, man. We'll just see if he's healthy. I'm pretty sure he'll be available if something, obviously something, the sparring, if something horrible happens. But yeah, he'll be available in this game. So the running attack of Texas, Quinn Ewers versus Will Howard. Great quarterback matchup. Very exciting. Who wins this one? I got the Ohio State Buckeyes. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Michigan fan. No. I'm telling you, these 4 teams, I said it. Ohio State's the most dangerous. They're going to win this one against Texas. Should be an interesting one, though. But yeah, Texas to go double overtime against Arizona State. I don't trust that. I don't like that at all. Ohio State dominating the number 1 team at the Rose Bowl on the big stage. That's very scary. I got the Ohio State Buckeyes winning this one against Texas. The Cotton Bowl, Friday, 7:30, ESPN. Those are my picks for the college football playoff. And with that being said, we're done. So thank you on this long edition of Guys Time with the Brides. Lots of football. We got wild card round coming this weekend. We got the college football playoff, got the Cotton Bowl, and you got the Orange Bowl this week. So check those out. The Lions, back-to-back NFC North champions. They get the bye week. They got the number 1 seed. The playoffs run through Detroit in the NFC side, and then the playoffs run through Kansas City on the AFC side. They got the number 1 seed over there. So thank you for joining me again. Lots of football. Check this one out. My YouTube page at Guys Time with the Brides. The audio version will be available. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast. Check it out. Happy New Year. to everyone. I know last time I did an episode, it was the last day of 2024. So Happy New Year. It's 2025, a great year. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait for what happens. You guys stay safe out there. Watch some football. Watch some sports. You got hockey out there. You got some UFC fights coming up. Basketball. College basketball as well. But football, you got the wild card round, the college football playoff. Play some bets. Watch some football. It's going to be a good one. You guys are amazing. Happy New Year. Go Lions. The back-to-back NFC North champions. We are the king of the North, baby. Go Lions. All right, take care, guys. Have a good one.